What's up, guys? This is going to be episode 5 in the push to top 10k in Clash Royale. And we're going to be going in with the RG and Monk again. So, in our 6 daily matches today, my goal is going to be to play much more passively. The past few days, I've been going too aggressive with RGs and it's cost me. Although, here, this is one instance where I'm sort of going against my words, but the opponent did go in with a Lava Hound in the back, so I think that it's a decent opportunity to go for a RG at the bridge. And then I'm going to try and get a Fisherman down, maybe some Skeletons. And alright, I need to make sure that Empress doesn't do too much damage. And it looks like it's going to be a slight damage lead for us. And what I want to do is keep up some dual lane pressure right now because I think that's probably going to be my best course of action. I'm able to get my RG onto the tower. And he did have to spend a little bit of elixir there, like I think 9 in total. And we're able to get a cheap defense on his Valk. So that right-hand side tower is going to be in spell range for me. So I'm not going to be pushing into that lane anymore. I'm going to go ahead and get my Hunter down. And then honestly, I just want to be pretty aggressive here, I think. I'll pop my Monk ability here. I'll try and get down some Skeletons, but it was slightly too late. Although I am going to pretty much have both of his towers completely down. So I'm not too worried right now, with only a minute left. I'm going to go for the Fisherman. And then maybe just a Monk for the other lane. Alright, I'll go for my Evo Hunter in the back here. And then I'm going to just cycle a log to get my Monk in front, because I'm going to want to pop my Monk ability. And alright, he does actually place his Fireball pretty well there. Although I think it's a little bit too late in the game because I have a 2-tower lead and not enough time for him to take the advantage. So that's going to be a game 1 victory for us. Let's head over into game 2. All right, here we go. I'm gonna cycle the Skeletons and go for a Fisherman onto his Furnace. And honestly, I wonder if the Fire Spirit interaction is now different. But it's looking like it's gonna be a graveyard match. So I'll go for the Hunter onto his Furnace. I don't need to worry about any air troops. Hunter should also hopefully deal with the Berserker. I'm going to go with my Monk in the back for his Giant Skeleton. And this is definitely going to be a difficult matchup because he's going to have the Goblin Hut and Giant Skeleton. I'll go here with the Skeletons and then Fisherman to try. I tried to pull the Giant Skeleton out of range, but unfortunately it didn't go exactly as I had hoped. But I do have a counter push here with the Monk. So I wonder if I should take it, but I'm not going to because of those bats, and I don't have E-Spirit in cycle. Alright, so it looks like this will be a decent Monk opportunity here because of the Furnace and Spear Goblin Hut. So I'm going to get my Monk down. And hopefully that hunter is able to do some solid damage to the giant skeleton. One more hit. I'll go for my fisherman, and then e-spirit and skeletons. And we do get an alright defense, but as you can see, we're down a solid amount of damage right now. He has Evo Furnace in hand. I need to watch out for that. And honestly, do I have a better play than going for the RG, because I need to start getting a little bit of damage. And hopefully the monk is able to reflect enough so I can take his Evo Furnace down with my fireball. And now this is going to be a dangerous counter push. And maybe I should have even saved my E-Spirit for his bats, but we get a king activation up, which is going to be really helpful in the long run. I'm going to take the fireball onto his furnace. And then, honestly, maybe I should consider getting this fisherman to pull far. Go for an E-Spirit. Some skeletons to help as well. And then bring this giant skeleton back over. And all right, we have a solid counter push going here. I'm going to get my Evo RG down, pop my monk ability. And then I'm going to try and get a fisherman down for his berserker. Fireball onto the furnace. And this is going to now be a tough defense once again, but since we have the king up, that's really going to be game-changing for us. I played the fisherman there, probably not fully needed, but just to ensure the Evo bats don't do too much damage or get to my tower by chance. I'll go in with this. I'm going to need to pop a monk ability here to take care of the Evo Furnace. And then go for a hunter. Some skeletons back here. I want to catch that hero bar barrel. Make sure that no bats slide to my tower. And honestly, just a log for safe measure, but this is going to be pretty dangerous. I'm going to need to somehow find a way to get through here. And if that RG, it almost got a hit, but unfortunately it couldn't. I'll pop monk ability here, and yeah, unfortunately this looks like it's probably going to be game. All right. I think we took a little bit too much damage early on there, unfortunately, but let's head into match 3. Graveyard's always a tough matchup because of the Goblin Hut. Goblin Hut and Tesla are the two best buildings against RG, I would say. I guess Inferno Tower as well, but that one's a lot less common. All right, so bait. Let's go for the log on his Goblin Barrel. Cycle my skeletons. I can just go for an E-Spirit into his Ice Spirit. And just cycle a hunter. I'll go for a fisherman onto his Dark Goblin. And honestly, the deck that he's using might be the deck that has Inferno Tower, unfortunately. My hunter does really well there to get the princess down. And all right, if he does have Inferno Tower, he might play it, although let's see here. I'll go for the hunter on my right side so I don't give him spell value on the left. He's going to go for the princess. My reaction time's a little bit delayed there because I thought he would have went Dark Goblin instead. Maybe I'll get my monk in front here, and if he rockets, can I get a monk ability? But I don't think he has rocket. I think he's just going to be running a heavier bait. He does have his Inferno Tower out of cycle for sure right now. So I think that I'm going to need to go in for this. But he does have the Hero Skeleton Army. Hopefully my E-Spirit's able to get to it. Unfortunately, it couldn't. And then I do take some more Princess chip damage. And this matchup's definitely difficult because the Inferno Tower is just something that is going to be really hard for me to break through. We are able to manage a hit from the Fisherman and reflect his cloned Goblin Barrel. I think that's actually a bad log, unfortunately. Not exactly what I intended there. And I'm going to need to... Okay, I thought he would have probably went in on this lane again, but he... on the lane with all his stuff, but he ended up not doing that. Thankfully, that skeleton was there. It lets me get down my Fisherman in time. I think I need to start taking monk chip damage because I'm struggling to break through considerably right now. I'll go for monk in the back, hunter E-Spirit. All right. I think I'll just take a log here. I need to find a way to deal with that Evo skeleton army though. And then try and get some troops down here. Heading into triple, this is going to be a difficult matchup. I don't know, probably my best move is going to be to attempt a spell cycle. So I'll go with my RG here. Hopefully this hunter, all right, placed excellently. Go for this monk ability. He is gonna get his Inferno Tower down, which is unfortunate. I don't really have means to deal with that. And then also I unfortunately did a bad Fisherman there, but let's try and pop this monk ability. Get a fireball down onto that. I'm gonna need to log these princesses. Try and get a monk in front here. Pop an ability. And yeah, this is not looking the greatest because his deck cycles quicker than mine. I'm not really able to keep up with all of his pressure. And yeah, unfortunately, this is going to be another loss. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into match 4. Hopefully turn this session around. All right, I'm gonna cycle my skeletons. Considering an E-Spirit as well, but I don't want to necessarily give up the king activation. So maybe, all right, I'm gonna place a monk here in the back. Sparky is definitely a good matchup. I just need to watch out for if he has a Vines or Tornado here, but I think it's probably going to be pretty safe to pop my monk ability, and thankfully we do get it off in time. Hopefully I'm able to take out that Sparky. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to, and he might have a mini P.E.K.K.A here, but yeah, all right. We still do get some decent damage out of that. He has no heal spirit, but he might still have a zap or something. And thankfully he popped ability because that let my hunter get an additional hit off. I go for a log on this wizard to hopefully All right, maybe we were able to prevent one hit with that log. If I had instead not made it connect to the tower, it probably would have been a full counter, but I think the chip damage is helpful in this matchup. All right, I'm gonna go for another monk. And I do know he has vines now, so I think probably I'll predict the vines by going for a skeletons up high. And now I'm gonna go for my shot there. Hopefully this log cracks the Evo Wizard shield, and then I'm gonna try and push the Evo Wizard into my hunter range, but it didn't go through. I'll go for a fisherman pull over here. And then, unfortunately, that was not the best play for me because he does get some solid damage there, although I think I do have a decent counter push potential, but it sort of got thwarted by that Sparky because I didn't have enough time to get my monk down. All right, I'll go for a monk and then try and pop ability quickly. I'll try and pull that giant over and get a log onto his heal spirit. And the wizard does connect with my tower, unfortunately. I'm gonna just try and pop my monk ability quickly. But this time he does get the NATO off in time, which is very unfortunate. And yeah, I'm starting to misplay a little bit. There, that monk was also bad placement, but hopefully it still is able to. All right, yeah. We had a strong start, I guess, but then just started misplaying a lot there. But heading into match 5 here. All right, he's going to RG in the back. So I think into RG decks that don't have monk, I have a good matchup with the monk. I'm going to maybe try and predict an E-Spirit. I mean, his fisherman using my E-Spirit, but he actually doesn't even place that. I'll log back the charge on this Dark Prince. And honestly, it seems like I have a really strong counter push here. I'm going to just try and pop my monk ability. He's going to go for a cannon, which we're able to deflect one shot off of. And the hunter is even able to take down the Ice Wizard there, so we get really solid damage. I'll cycle my skeletons. Go for an E-Spirit at the bridge. And then I'll go for a Fisherman onto his Dark Prince, because Fisherman's really good for troops that have charges. I'll just get my Monk in front again. And then honestly just go pretty aggressive here. I'll pop my Monk ability here, and it's going to reflect the cannon and the Ice Wizard ability, so I'm hopefully going to be able to get a decent amount of damage. One more hit's really nice. I'll place my skeletons low for this Mega Minion, and then just get a log onto this Ice Wizard, and then just eat the rest of that damage. Hunter onto his RG, and then I'll go for a Monk as well. I'm going to try and time this E-Spirit to cancel the Dark Prince charge. And go for a Fisherman in the middle here. Probably just going to take a Fireball onto his Ice Wizard. And looks like it might be a spell cycle game. We do have a very solid advantage. I accidentally placed my monk behind the RG, so it pushes it towards the tower, but I think it may have just coincidentally worked out because it helped keep the monk out of lightning range, and with that, I think this is going to be a pretty easy victory here. And I just need to double check that that was match 5. Oops, I accidentally... Let me click cancel real quick. Okay. Let's check the battle log. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, so we have 1 match left. Right now we're down 1 match, and honestly, I think we haven't been incredibly successful, so I think that what I'm going to do now is potentially try and switch up our deck slightly. I think that that might be a smart move to go ahead and try. I have this drill deck powered up, and I think that probably I'll go for Evo Tesla, which gives me a little bit more coverage, because I think that the coverage is definitely more solid than Cannon. I think Cannon's probably better on higher up in the ladder where you don't face as much air troops, but where I'm at right now, it's really unpredictable, so I think Tesla's the better building overall. So this is definitely going to be slightly different playstyle, but nonetheless, let's give it a try. Looks like first match might be up against some bait. I'll go for a Tesla here to counter the split breakers. I think that I could try and maybe protect my what is that, like Goblin Demolisher? That's what I tried to do with the Knight, and we are able to get some solid damage, but unfortunately we also did give up some good damage on his Goblin Barrel because that Knight at the bridge was pretty aggressive. I'm going to wait a second, and then I do get a good snowball on the left-hand side, but we do have to eat some damage on the right, but I think that's fine. So I'll start up another push with my Goblin Demolisher. And I don't necessarily want to eat that Fire Spirit because that is a lot of damage. I think I'll go in for a Goblin Drill here. And hopefully my Demolisher is able to get the tower, but unfortunately he's able to defend pretty well, and he also has a Dark Prince, which is also not the best for me. I think that I need to just eat that damage, although maybe it's not the smartest move, but it's going to let me do a little bit stronger of a counter push here when he has no Dark Prince in hand. I think I'm going to have to just Evo Snow, unfortunately, but we are able to get some solid damage off. I'm going to have to just go for my Fire Spirit there, and thankfully he plays it in a position where it lets this single Fire Spirit just jump and do all of the damage. I'll go for a Knight, Demolisher, and then an Evo Tesla here. Surprisingly, Demolisher did not do a good job there at countering his Goblin Barrel at all. He's going to have a Dark Prince in hand as well, which is going to be unfortunate. I'm going to go for the Demolisher onto his Dark Prince and tank with my Knight. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to use an Evo Snowball here. And go for a Tesla as well, which thankfully it's able to full counter there. And then I'm going to need to go for a Demolisher here, and he's definitely just spamming at this point, but It is working. And he somehow gets a double connection there as well. And yeah, like with Dark Prince, this matchup's like pretty tough. Unfortunately, we do take the loss there. But I think, switching up the deck is definitely going to need to be done because we haven't been crazy successful with RG over the last few days. But let's take a quick look at our record on the day. So we went 1-0, 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 2-3, and then 2-4. So unfortunately, we do have a little bit of a negative record today, but there is still a couple days left in the season where we'll try and swing it around with this drill deck. Thanks for watching.